Test, microphone test, check one. Testing audio. Just making sure. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Test, audio check. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Yep, looks good. All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody who are watching the live stream today. I'm assuming people do join from different time zones, so that's why I try to say good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everything at the same time. So thank you so much for joining in today for today's live Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please post your question in the chat section below in the Q&A box, and we'll try our best to answer the questions in the order in which we have received the questions. Okay, so let's get started with today's Q&A. Give me one sec, just need to fix a couple of settings here. All right, so if you guys have questions, I'll be here for a couple of hours, at least for like 35 to 40 minutes. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to post that in the chat section below. So yeah. So a couple of things, I have been also exploring on my personal time about Haystack. It is actually pretty cool though. It's basically a wrapper, right? So, Haystack is very nice and easy to use, but I had a very hard time getting installed those packages since it depends upon so many other ML libraries, right? So different version conflicts was a chaos for me. Other than that, I'll be trying to post more and more on AWS, right? So let's take questions if they have any. All right, we have a question here. And the question is from Arun with you. The question is, I want to merge two Kinesis streams to be merged and stored in some platform like S3 or BigQuery. Well, Kinesis stream. Yeah, then in that situation, you might have to use something called Kinesis Analytics. You might have to use Apache Flink to do that. Yep. So, yeah, that is your answer. So Arun says, for example, one stream is from clickstream and another is from backend. Yeah, so I get it. You want to essentially real-time aggregate, right? You can essentially write glue streaming job. Glue streaming job essentially allows you to join one or more sources, and you can perform your ETL, and then yeah. So either use Apache Flink or use glue streaming jobs to essentially achieve what you want to do. I hope that answers your question, Arun. No problem, Arun. That sounds good, man. So yeah, so expect more, videos, series on Elasticsearch as usual. AWS is my. I am gonna go in that direction a lot. I will be learning a lot more on cloud. Although I know, but it's always something new is coming up, so you have to keep up, right? So you will learn a lot more on AWS with me as well. And any general Python, any libraries that I found interesting, I'll essentially try to post that on my channel. But yeah, if you have questions, if you want to discuss an item, or if there's anything that you want to talk, please write your question in the chat box, and we can try our best to answer the questions in order in which we receive them. And if there are no questions, I'll enjoy my morning cup of tea. Perfect. I just like it. Yeah, if you if you have any questions that you need some advice or maybe like a POC, let me know. We'll try to answer them. We have a couple of more people joining in today for the live session. We have Dipesh Parwani says, where do you pick up small project ideas from? Ideally, see, you wanna see, you can pick up like data sets from Kaggle, right? And regarding project ideas, you wanna try to solve some problem, something that interests you, right? I would say pick up that particular topic, right? So yeah. Arun here says, I really love to hear some interesting POC you have done. Actually, I've done a couple of them, and those POCs have turned into project, right? One of them was AWS batch framework, job target batch framework, right? So we essentially use AWS batch jobs to essentially schedule, host, run Python jobs. Recently, I did a real-time POC for topic model project with entire code, right? As soon as a job is created or an updated, right, you essentially would assign topics to those jobs. So I worked on that recently. Other than that, I've built so many stuff on Amazon Web Services, right? Fan-out models, fan-in model, poll-based architectures, right? Stream, real-time analytics streams, right? Worked a lot on data lake, right? Athena, dashboard, the entire stack, right? So those are some of the stuff that I have worked on, Arun. Yeah, if you have any other questions, please post them in the chat box and we'll try to answer them. I think I can also show you guys my resume if you want, if you are interested. Arun, let me know if you wanna, if people doesn't have questions, then I can show my resume if you guys are interested. I haven't updated though from a while though, but if you guys are interested, I would more than happy to share my resume, Well, if there are no questions, meanwhile, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my resume with you all, so maybe you guys get an idea about how I've framed my resume. So let me first of all find my resume. Okay, so let me open this and then I'll share my screen, okay? Okay, hold on, so. Yeah, that's my resume, I guess. Alright, so I'll share my resume, so hopefully you guys get some tips and tricks there as well, right? So this is my resume, Saumil Nathan Shah. I have added my GitHub, my LinkedIn, my email, and my website. That's how you also want to do whenever you write your resume. You want to put all these items on the top. Then I have a short, one paragraph short summary. Excellent experience of building scalable and high performance software application. I have a YouTube channel where I teach people about data science, machine learning, Elasticsearch, AWS. I work as a data collection ABC, where I spend most of my time on ABCD, right? So basically, I gave a short description. Then here is my qualification. I hold a double master's in electrical engineering and a master's in computer engineering with a graduate GPA of 3.8 out of 4. I graduated in the year May 2020. I enrolled in the year 2017. That's 3 years. In 3 years, I completed my 2 masters. Then I did my bachelor's in electronic engineering from KJ Sumaya Institute of Information and Technology from the year 2013 to 2017. In terms of my experience, this is my recent experience where I spent most of the time developing stuff. I'll go over that shortly. Then this is my full stack software engineer. I was a full stack engineer. Then I was an intern at Butterfly. I was an instructor. And then I was a research assistant for a grant project at Bridgeport. Content creator, right? So short, sweet, not too much, right? So the way I have described when I write points, I always try to mention numbers because these numbers are, the numbers are interesting. Recruiters usually focus on number. Design and develop fully scalable data ingestion framework on AWS, which processes more than 2 terabyte, number 2. That does 800 jobs each month, number 800. See, I'm putting numbers everywhere. The framework allows the customer to execute Python scripts, simply build compute environment from 500 megabytes, number again, to 120 GB RAM, again number, 1 core to 32, number. Each Python script runs on a virtual Docker container, allowing the user to schedule it manually, blah, 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 XYZ. Then next one, by optimizing the file formats and executing numerous glue jobs on a schedule utilizing AWS glue workflow, we were able to achieve 50 times quicker. Number 50, right? So I try to put like numbers always whenever I describe, and then I try to explain how did what was the customer impact, right? So increase the revenue, customer satisfaction, ABC, right? Using Elasticsearch, design and constructed semantic search engine, the technology allows the recruiter to use Google style search, right? So essentially, that. So all I do is when I put stuff, so I put numbers. Here you also see, for example, let's read this one so you get an idea. Design and developed a highly scalable and robust streaming solution application for ingesting real-time streams data using MongoDB Stream, Event Bridge, SQS, Lambda. The system currently is processing 20,000 events per day and approximately 8 million events per year. Number 8 million. Event lands on the data lake after automatically the job refreshes the blah 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 XYZ. So you got the idea, right? So that's my resume, that's my qualification. I know a lot of people are asking me, so I thought to share that today. And let's hop on to the, there's so many questions. We have question from Aswin, says, could you do more videos on Elasticsearch? Yes, Aswin, I would try to do more videos on Elasticsearch, no problem at all. We have Ashutosh Shukla says, hey, hope you're doing great. Hi Ashutosh, good to see you, man, again. We have Harry here, looks like a new subscriber, says, hi bro, I was just watching your Python advanced videos and came here. Thank you so much, Harry. I'm glad you found my channel. Yeah guys, so if you want to know anything, if you have any sort of questions, I'm always more than happy to answer those questions. So please put your question in the chat box and I'll try to take the questions in the order in which they have received. And until then, if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna enjoy my cup of tea. Perfect, that's a proper great Indian tea. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, if you have any questions, technical, non-technical, any advice, any suggestion that you need, please put them in the chat box and let's talk about it. And I'm pretty sure like last time also what happened was somebody was asking about how do you I guess a host name, they wanted to they only wanted to allow IP address from that particular host name on an EC2, and someone I guess replied from the live chat, right? So it's more like, ask your questions and then just, I'm pretty sure either me or other people will answer your questions, right? And maybe you guys can connect to each other on LinkedIn, and be friends, and that's how you make contacts, right? So consider this opportunity as a more networking opportunity, or maybe if you have questions, post your questions, right? Ashutosh says, any idea how to handle gap in a resume? Oh, that is pretty smart. Yeah, so here is what I would do. I would try to justify by doing maybe a certification and saying that I was trying to prepare for A, B, C skills during that period because it's pretty trending. So I would phrase that in a way. I would say I was trying to up my skills in the IT domain, right? So I would rather frame it in that way, Ashutosh. So I hope that helps. And remember, man, it's all right, Ashutosh. Like even if you have a gap, it's fine, man. We are all human beings. We all have problems. There might be situations, right? Unexpected scenarios where you might have to drop a job or might have to take care of the family, and it's totally all right. If recruiters don't understand, those companies are not worth you, right? You are much way better than that. So I would always put it that way, right? Always try to justify in a positive way and explain why you had to take a gap, and if it is genuine, I think people will consider it, right? That's my view on that particular topic. Arun says, please make a video on merging two Kinesis string and do some business logic, like if an event store, an eventscape, etc., etc. Yeah, I don't want to do that because If I do that on my personal account, it charges a lot of money, but I'll keep that on my to-do list. Okay, for sure. I'll put it down on my to-do list for sure. Remember, during that approach, there's only one problem with that. So what might happen is consider in one Kinesis stream data came, the glue job is running, but in the second stream the data came a little late. So you might have to wait, and you won't be able to directly merge. Is what I'm trying to say. Either do it after it is inserted into the data lake, right? Because if you try to do it real time, there might be lags and gaps, right, which might screw you up. So it's a little tricky, right? So that's what I would say. Or I would either maybe just run a job after the data is inserted somewhere, right? Harry says, doing a job as a Django developer as a fresher, but being paid less. What are the skills to get paid high? Yeah, that's a great question, Harry. First, I would say is upworking your skill set, right? Django, great. I mean, you're already getting paid, right? I think you should try to explore more on cloud. There is a lot of opportunity in cloud, and people with cloud skill set are getting really paid very high. All companies are trying to move to cloud. They want to scale, right? So I would say having your skill set on the cloud domain would help you to essentially bump up your salary. And the second thing I would advise is basically developing a leadership skills, right? Okay, you are a developer, you're probably maybe great at your job, right? But now opt into leadership or project management role, right? For example, leading a team. How do you handle people? How do you talk to people? How would so those are like leadership roles, right? So those are something that you can also explore, right? So, and of course, and then the next option, Harry, for you would be switching companies often, right? That will help you to again get higher salaries. But again, skills are the most important thing. So I would say upworking your skills would be an advice from me. Arun says, storing event from Kinesis data stream in BigQuery versus S3 and ad hoc querying using Athena and Redshift Spectrum. Yep, that is basic. Yeah. So you're asking which one you should use? I mean, whichever one, it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, you're querying, right? S3 or big, whatever that is. What is that? Uh, S3 or the BigQuery, it doesn't really matter, right? It's basically a store, right? Either you use Athena or Redshift Spectrum, same thing, right? Athena, you're gonna run ad hoc queries. Redshift Spectrum, you're gonna run ad hoc queries. It's serverless, right? So same thing, right? As far as you get the job done, that's all it cares, right? I would say. Again, you might want to do a comparison on the cost aspect, right? That might be one scenarios, right? So depending upon the use case, you might select the appropriate stack based on the cost part. Yeah, so you might want to research how much data you have and maybe do cost um, projections and then select the appropriate stack there. So I would say go to AWS Cost Explorer. I think no, there is a way where you can what do you say? Create cost estimate based on the data volumes, right? And then based on that, you might select your appropriate stack, right? And this would be basically based on how much volume you're receiving, right? How much volume of data you're receiving, how much volume of data you're processing. So put all those metrics in an Excel sheet, put your cost analysis, and then go for the right stack. All right. Any other questions I can answer today, guys? Yeah, if you guys have any more questions or just concept related, more than happy to discuss those concepts here. Yep. Any other questions that you guys have today that I could answer? Please explain more about EMR and glue jobs. What exactly would you like me to explain? They both are, framework which is used to essentially perform ETL on the data, right? Um, they both. I would rather select glue job because it's much more popular. It's a Spark, right? And they have a lot of easy way to use. It's simple drag and drop. Glue Studio provides a way to drag and drop. There's a Glue Data Brew, yeah, Data Brew, that essentially is like almost a visual way to clean your data and perform your job on that, right? So I would rather select Glue jobs. Glue also has a wide variety to choose from, right from I guess 1 DPU to 20 DPUs, and I think they have released even more, right? So really depends upon the use case at that point, right? Yes, I have used Glue Bookmark. Bookmark essentially allows you to, so let's say there is ID 1, 2, and 3. Next time if you run, it will only take up incremental data. So Glue Bookmark is useful to do incremental data, right? So yeah, I have used bookmarks in Glue. Tridap Das here says, which warehouse should I learn in today's era? I'm thinking of Snowflake. Um, I'm not sure about Snowflake, but I think what I hear everywhere in the industry is Redshift. People do talk about Redshift heavily a lot. Redshift Spectrum. So I would rather maybe suggest or say try to go with Redshift, but then I would leave the decision to you. I'm personally exploring more on Redshift, right? Yeah. I've heard about snowflakes as well, but I am personally just moving into the AWS ecosystem, right? Yeah. Manish says, last time I got connected on a phone call. Did you remember? Yes, I remember, of course. I do remember. Manish Singh here says, which cloud is better in these days? Well, it totally depends upon your company, right? Every company has their own cloud provider. Again, my opinion, again, this might be a little biased opinion since I do a lot of AWS work, but I would say AWS. And actually, to be honest, you can also go to Google and say which cloud is best, right? Let me see if I can do that quick Google search for you. So you can come to Google and see which cloud is. I think AWS has will be always the best. Simple Google search will always answer questions like these, right? Or you can just say best cloud computing in 2022. Yeah, Pro Portal, right? So yeah, there are these articles you can read, right? There are reasons why they also gave us, right? I think AWS will be the number one. I will always prefer Amazon, but yeah, simple Google search will always help you to answer questions like these, right? 47 of market. Yep, I know AWS is the best. It's gonna lead this. Tridap Das says, thank you so much. Regarding data engineering, can you suggest some tools that I should master or popular in the industry? Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen and I'll give you a list here. Okay, so give me. Oops, hold on one sec. Let me copy your question. So let me open a Word file first so I can. My computer is slow because it's a live stream, right? So give it a second. I'll answer your question, Tridap. All right, I think I have my Word opened up finally. Give me one sec. Okay. So, okay, this was the question, right? So I would say the first thing that I would recommend so we'll highlight this question here in bold and italics, and then we'll say I would say first of all you want to start with Python. You want to have a good grip on the Python knowledge. So the basics, object-oriented programming, right? Object-oriented programming, right? Then you want to start learning some Python packages. You want to have a good grip on that for data engineering. I would say start with pandas, then move to PySpark, and then go with Dask. So have a knowledge about all these stuff, right? Then when I say all these stuff, right, make sure you understand how to manipulate data, work with datetime objects, all these stuff, right? Now coming to cloud, which is very essential, right? So I would recommend you to learn Lambda, SQ, S3, Glue, right? Glue, Athena, EMR, Redshift. Let me think if I miss Lambda, SQ. Oh yeah, one more. DynamoDB. For data engineering, I think these are Lambda, SQS, S3, Glue, Athena, EMR, Redshift, DynamoDB, and these are some of the stuff that you wanna know in proper detail. Learn everything about Lambda, layers, Lambda in Docker container, SQS very thoroughly, S3, storage classes, how to move data between storage classes, right? Athena, to run ad hoc queries. Maybe a little bit about QuickSight, because a lot of time you want to build reporting as well. EMR I wouldn't suggest that much. I would put it in the red one, but highly important are these stack here, which I personally spend a lot of time doing it, right? So these are marked as green. Redshift for warehouse, and again these are like optionals, right? What else? I think just these stuff I think would pretty much cover most of the data engineering. Of course there is a lot more to it, right? Then you wanna, as data engineer, you wanna know how to move data from A to B. You wanna know about CDC, change data capture, right? How to load incremental data, right? You wanna know the best file formats, right? For the data, right? That can allow you to save money, cost, etc. And I think that's pretty much it. That's all I can think. I hope this gives you some clear idea. We have a question from Manish says, at Manish Singh, I think so. You should learn cloud as well as some of the as I said, right, cloud is the future, right? Tridab says, and just to inform you, your Elasticsearch playlist is awesome. Have learned a lot from it. Thank you for creating such playlist. Thank you, Tridab. Makes sense, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We have a new guy joining in here, Rohit Gupta. Says, need to query large amount of data from DynamoDB, but it hits the limit using Boto3. Used pagination, but takes 20 seconds for each batch, consists of 2500 records. 40 batch, how do I get? Okay, it's a great question. Let me, I think the reason you're hitting the cap, Rohit, is because you are actually, I'm gonna share an architecture with you, because I work a lot with DynamoDB, heavily with Dynamo. So let me, if this opens up, I mean, my computer is very slow today. Let me see if I can share my screen. One sec. All right, sharing my screen. So we will be answering questions from Mr. Gupta here. We'll take a screenshot first here so people know what the context is, right? Okay, this is the question. Okay, so first thing that I would do personally now is, when we go to DynamoDB, make sure the DynamoDB is set to auto scaling, because if you have set numbers of RCU and WCU, you will hit the bottleneck. So ask your sysop or whoever is managing DynamoDB to first of all switch that to auto scaling mode. And I'll just show you for other people who do not know what I'm talking about. I think I have some nice, And then I'll share an architecture that I would, where is my notes? Yeah, my computer is just slow today. Hold on, I should be, where is my, okay, here, it should be there here, hold on. No, that's a data modeling, learning time. So again, DynamoDB operates in two mode, right? On-demand mode and provisional and on-demand mode, right? So first and foremost, I just wanted to show you that slide quickly. Where is that slide? Here, this one. So Dynamo offers in two mode, right? Basically provisional and on-demand. So first thing, change your capacity to on-demand, okay? Now, what do you want to do is, I know that your Boto 3 can read up to 2500 records in a batch. So now do this, okay? So, okay, let me explain you like this. So write a Python script, right? So this Python script will read the data in batches from DynamoDB, right? You said, now what I would say is basically develop an SQ. So your processing of those 2500 record, don't do over here. So put those messages into an SQS. So what I'm essentially doing here is I'm basically converting your sync into an async architecture here, right? And of course you will have your dead letter queue, right? So now what you could do, your Python is essentially just gonna read from Dynamo and it will publish into an SQS. And now you could scale easily whatever your post-processing you're doing on the Dynamo records using Lambda functions, right? Now, what you can also do is basically when you are reading data in Dynamo, right? So say, I don't have my code editor though, but assume, okay, so def, so so say you have like 50 pages, right? So what you want to do is you want to create a global thread object, right? And then what you want to do is for I in range, whatever that thread whatever pages you have, for let's call for page in pages, right? Now what you want to do is, let's say at max you can read 2 batches from DynamoDB, right? So you can also convert reading from Dynamo and you can and again, I have personally done it. You can go up to 3000 reads per second. I have done it, trust me. So now what you want to do is for page in pages, you want to, let's say that you have a function that will read data, right? So def, and again, this is a pseudocode. And this will of course take a page number, whatever that is, right? So now do this, t is equal to threading.thread, okay? Threading.thread target is equal to, you got the idea, right? Target is equal to, you will put this one, right? And then you can say, I think it takes an args in Python, right? And then you can pass in the page question like that, right? Like that. Now you will say threads dot append. Again, this is a pseudocode I'm showing you. I'm writing on Notepad, okay? So bear with me. So now once you're done with that, now depending upon how many batches you can handle, so you'll say for batch in threads. Now you will, let's say you grab 2 batches, right? So this is T1 object, T2 object, right? So now what you want to do is you want to iterate over this and then you want to just say dot start method. So now what you essentially did is you broke your monotonous task into A. So reading from DynamoDB, you can parallelize that, read many simultaneously using thread objects, right? Now the post processing, right? The job of each thread is just to read from Dynamo, get the total number of batch and dump it on the SQS. Now your post filtering will be done on the Lambda function. Essentially, Lambda will fan out, scale out. Anything that fails will land on the dead letter queue. So I hope this helps you, okay? Now let me share my screen back. All right, so let's see. Where did I left on the questions? I forgot. I think whose question I ordered? Oh, Rohit Gupta. Yeah, I forgot. All right, so going from the order in which where I left, Tridap says, thanks for sharing the data engineering list. No problem, Tridap. Manish says, which framework is better, Python or event-based microservices? That totally depends upon application and use cases. So it's a very generalized question which I won't be able to answer. Tridhap says, can you state some challenges you faced uh, in data engineering? Also, if possible, share uh, which tools is good for streaming Kafka or Apache Flink. Uh, in terms of challenging that I faced in data engineering, again, one of the biggest challenges I still have at this point is duplicates, right? Removing duplicates from the data lake. It's very tricky and challenging because lakes will have duplicates, and to remove duplicates is a challenge, even on a scale. And I said, right, to have it done in the most cost effective way, right? So that has been a challenge always, right? And if possible, share which tool is good for streaming. See, I have only worked on Apache Flink, Kinesis, right? I haven't touched Kafka on the cloud much, so I won't be able to share insights on Kafka. But personally speaking, I have used Kinesis stack, essentially Kinesis ecosystem, right? Kinesis data analytics, streams, Firehose, right? So yeah. Arun says there are different microservices which generate backend events, and I want to capture it without losing the data. Let me understand. There are different microservices generating backend events, and I want to capture it without losing. Can I develop a microservice which captures these events as a proxy and send it to? Yeah, but that wouldn't work because your microservice will soon go down. You need to scale massively because all the microservices are going to send all these requests. So I would say maybe use a tool such as Datadog, which already does the job, right? Which captures all these logs, right? So I would say Datadog. Arun says Kinesis or all microservices are directly sent to Kinesis or all microservices directory send it to microservices. Yeah, whatever you prefer the stack, as I said, right? Sachin here says hi Somil, hi Sachin. We have Ash M says thank you for all the efforts you put in on all these. Yep, thank you so much, Ash. Tridhap says thank you, brother. Very good session. Thank you, man. Thank you. So yeah, I hope you guys, Rohit, I'm not sure if you're still there on the call or on the live session, but I did share some insights on how you could solve your problem that you asked me for. So if you are watching, then this is your solution. I did provide you a general idea on how you would approach this, okay? Okay, Manish is new on the channel. Well, welcome on the channel, right? It's never too late to come here, you know. Yeah, any other questions I can answer, post them in the chat box, and I'll try to answer them, if possible. No problem, Arun. Anytime, guys. Not sure if Rohit is here, but if somebody was looking into that Dynamo stuff, but that's how you would essentially solve your Dynamo reading issues that Rohit mentioned. All right, any other questions we can answer today? More than happy to talk, discuss, debate. So yeah, let me know. Man, I need my specs. Where is my specs? All right. Manish says, please share your thought about system design. Yeah, it's basically an architect level role, right? Where you design system, you come up with the requirements such as the volume, the scale, and then you design system based on those requirements. It's pretty cool. That's what pretty much I also do. I would call like architecture, right? A solution architect, right? So basically, it's just the same thing. We have Kamal Narayan says, is it important to learn data modeling for data engineering roles? Yes and no. Uh, no, because in big companies you will have a data architect. Data architect is the guy who usually would do all these modeling exercise. uh, I think data engineers are more, their job is to develop pipelines and make sure those pipelines never fail. But some small and medium sized company will ask you to do that. So yes and no is the answer. Do you know any books or playlist on system design? I think there are a lot of good YouTubers where you can learn system design, the concept. If you just type on YouTube, I'm pretty sure there are thousands of people who say Netflix design, this clone, that clone, right? So I'm pretty sure you'll find something on the YouTube. No problem, man. No problem. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to post them, man. And again, as I said, right, a lot of again, I don't want to talk too much on that, but a lot of YouTubers, they run like Udemy courses and they try to like say, oh, okay, now buy this Udemy course. I never say that. I'm like, yeah, what the hell, man? You get all this Udemy, and I mean, yeah, they, most of them will always try to sell you something in one way or the other, right? So it's pretty less people will only give you quality or actual content that they work on day-to-day life, right? Most of the people are always trying to sell you stuff, right? Either A or B or C, right? Yeah. So these days, most of the items are available for free, man. You can do whatever you want, you can learn whatever you want. The possibilities are just endless. Like everything on the internet, you want to become an app developer, okay? Just Google app developer and you'll find hundreds of resources. All you need to do is just spend time, man, these days. That's what it is, right? Most of the people don't spend enough time and then they complain, oh, I don't know. Well, you gotta spend time, you gotta invest in that, right? So all the items in today's world in 20th century is almost free. Anything that you want to learn, anything. And and again, I'm just a small YouTuber. There are so many other YouTuber where you can learn all these concepts as well, right? All knowledge is free in today's world, right? So Manish says, I've recently learned microservices and I want to implement in Python, but a lot of design pattern I'm facing problem. Just go easy, man. Who said to develop design pattern? Just go bare minimum easy. Develop an API that works. Then essentially add levels to it. Okay, how do I develop rate limiting? How do I add authentication? You never, so like just saying, right? You don't eat everything in one day, right? You eat small things. You break things out. What you are doing is you're trying to develop a big system and now you're basically burning out yourself. I would just make a hello world. Okay, let me just make a hello world. Okay. Next task, okay, let me just add a Swagger UI. Okay, next task, okay, let me add authentication to it. Okay, next task, let me see how I can add rate limiting to it. That's how you progress. You don't do everything in one day and you be like, oh shit, doesn't work. Then you Google, okay, design patterns for API, right? You gradually progress. You don't do everything in one day. Break things into smaller chunks, right? So I wouldn't focus again. You can get overwhelmed on all these design patterns. Oh yeah, this design, that design. I'm at the end of the day never get something done and eventually get fired, right? Or rather, I would focus on learning and getting things done and focusing on how I can build revenue for the company. Your goal, Manish, or your thing should be, okay, how do I get more customers? How do I get more revenue for the company, right? Instead of thinking, oh, what's the best of best design pattern and this and that, and eventually get nothing done, right? Because in today's fast paced world, You have to release feature, you have to deliver. So I wouldn't be too crazy on those design pattern unless and until you're working for Apple, Google, or Microsoft, right? So that's my honest feedback, man. Yeah. I mean, I do like basic design, but not I don't go crazy like on all those stuff, you know. All right, I'll be there for 5 more minutes and then I'll wrap up today's session. So if you have any questions that I can answer, yeah, let me know. Oh, guess what? Whose request I got? Three the I don't know if he's there or not. You can see. Yeah. Uh, uh, yeah. God damn it. Never works. The autofocus. Come on, come on. Whatever. Three the that's the Django developer. Nice, nice. I'll connect with you, man. Thank you for sending the LinkedIn invite. All right. Three Dub says yes, bro. Please accept it. There you go. Accepted. Where you see that? Yeah. Nice, man. So just looking at your profile, you're from Guwahati, Assam, India. You essentially did your bachelor's of technology BTech in computer science in the year 2016 to 2020. Then you landed up on your first internship at Center of Developing Advanced Computing. Nice. Then you basically worked as a freelancer software developer. Now you're a programmer analyst at Tech Variable. Tech Variable, never heard about it. Let me see what is Tech Variable. Tech Variable is a consulting. Oh, it's a consulting company with the end-to-end product development service. Interesting. Products. Oh, okay, that's nice. Nice, man. Nice to connect with you, man. My LinkedIn profile. I'll get like thousands of requests today. Let me see. All right, I'll try to share. Hold on. Let me share. Man, I'll get probably like 1,000 requests today for sure. Right. Let me see. All right, that's my profile. Arun says, could you make a video on duplicate challenges you faced? To be honest, we are facing, and at this point, we are still struggling on it. We have also asked AWS and other people on how we could remove duplicates, but it's the cost aspect that is more challenging to us. To be honest, so what happens is, see, I'll explain you the problem why it's really a big challenge. Say January, you got ID 1, 2, 3. February, you got ID 2, 3, 4, 5. But now 2 and 3 is duplicate. So, well, now there are a couple of me and my manager, my director, right? Me and my director were discussing about these, right? We did came up with a couple of solutions, but these are all like POC, right? We haven't like really decided what we want to do. So let me share what me and my manager are thinking of. Let me share my screen. I might want to open Excel. Give me one sec. It's tricky. It is very tricky. We have been discussing a couple of solutions lately, but I'll tell you. So me and my manager, or rather director, I would say, we are discussing best ways to remove duplicates from the data lake at cheaper ways, right? So one of the ways was one way I essentially proposed was, this is what I said, right? And this is my manager, right? So one way, or manager / director, whatever you want to call. So I said we can use a glue job, right? So and essentially remove duplicates, right? But the problem or the challenge that becomes here, so say you have a folder called 01, right? This is a January, this is February, this is March. Here you have 1000 records. Let's just take 1000 right now. So in the first month, you will essentially basically take this one, right? I'll color code it and remove duplicates. In the second month, you will scan partition 1 and 2 and remove duplicates. In the third one, the glue will essentially crawl over all. So what you observe is as the lake grows, right, your glue cost is gonna increase, right? Not the best way. The second way I proposed was using Athena Cetas, so a cheaper way. So the idea is to again do the select distinct on a particular row. So select this one and then load it into the lake. So basically spin up an Apache Iceberg and then essentially select distinct and load it into the table. Next time, simply keep doing that using Athena Cetas. Next way we are again discussing, or rather, what we also do is, as I said, right, we have a concept of hashing. So all the rows we essentially have an MD5 hash, so we can essentially select a distinct value there. But again, that doesn't solve the problem of duplicates, right? The next thing we are discussing is maybe basically developing a lookup table. So basically, let's say you have ID1, let's say whatever, resume or resume1, whatever that is, same thing, resume2, right? So anytime you want to insert, you basically check the lookup table and see, okay, so next time, let's say 1 came in, right? So I'll check up the lookup table or dynamo table, whatever you want to call, and see if that exists in the lake already. If it exists in the lake, it's a duplicate, right? If you want to update it in Athena, the dynamo table will also hold the S3 path to the object. So let's say I want to update the number 1, right? So what I can do is I can pass this to an SQS, and the Lambda now basically, if I can open up page. So the Lambda will be basically, it will, let's say this is a file, right? And I want to update item number here. This is my cursor. So the Lambda will open the file, the cursor will go, it will update the record and again reinsert the file again. Again, there are various ways. We are still like discussing these problems. It is challenging to remove duplicates on the lake. And when I say duplicate at lakes, I mean to do it at a scale. Another options are we maintain a huge parquet with a document ID there, and essentially always check the parquet file if the ID exists or not. And again, we are exploring other things. There is a ML feature available called on AWS, matching, right, which can essentially help you to remove duplicate. But again, it again boils down to the cost aspect, right? So we're still discussing. I think we are landing on maybe a DynamoDB metadata, right? So every time you insert item into the data lake, you will check the DynamoDB. If the item or the hash exists in the DynamoDB, we will locate the file. The Lambda will open the file. The cursor will go there. Will update it. It's a whole big system, right? Again, but we are still exploring, right? But yeah, that's some of a challenge we have been facing, yeah, treat up, no worries, man. So yeah, couple of approaches, right? As I said, right? But how do we do that on scale, right? As data grows, right? To perform that distinct query, it takes slower, right? So we are trying to come up with innovative ways to solve this challenging problem, and we are still in the design phase where we are discussing all these scenarios that we want to do. Because what if, say you develop a DynamoDB table, when you're reading a file, right? Let's say the Lambda failed, the file might get corrupted now, right? So all these stuff we are discussing, all these edge cases, right? So yeah, that's been a challenge, not only for me, but for most of the companies here to do this on scale, right? That's the stuff. Hassan Ali here says, hi Somil, what do you think starting a project for beginner could be plus won't be more beneficial for the content to make a full-fledged project-based videos? Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think I would try to make a video, something like that, but it's just a lot of time-consuming process because you develop back end, front end, it just takes way too much time. Maybe breaking down into episodes and series would be a good idea. But thank you for suggesting, Hassan Ali. We'll try to definitely consider your suggestion. Yeah, so Arun, I hope that helps you. So yeah, those are, challenges that comes in, right? A, you want to get it done fast, but B, at the same time, we want to get it done at a cheaper price, right? So how do we get it done fast? So remember, I always share an article with a diagram with my manager as well, with everybody. So I'll share this with you as well. It's called a triangle. Anytime business asks me this, I always send this diagram to them. What do you guys want? So let me show you my screen and the diagram. Uh, this one. I love this, really. So listen, look at this. Good, good. So I think this is a good one. So fast and good is more expensive. Good and cheap will take more time to deliver. Cheap and fast, it's not the best quality, right? So there's always a trade-off, right, between three of them, right? We want fast, we want good, but that comes more expensive, right? So if you want fast and good, that doesn't come cheap. But if you want cheap and fast, that is not the best quality. You know what I mean? So yeah, that is the diagram, right? All right. Any other questions? I think we have answered most of the question today. I will be wrapping up today's Q&A. So once again, thank you everybody, all the viewers who are watching today live. Thank you very, very much. And if unfortunately I haven't answered any of your questions, I request you to send an email and will try my best to answer all your questions. We have one last question that I'll take from Hassan Ali. Furthermore, could you give me more insights into what skills do you need as a beginner for a data engineer? So Hassan Ali, I have already discussed that in the video today. Kindly rewind the live stream. This topic has already been discussed in today's video, where I gave all the skills and points for the data engineer, what all things you need to learn, right? So please watch that. I think this was the question again before. Just this was the question that was asked by Tridab. Thanks, Somil. Regarding data engineering, can you suggest? So we have discussed about these items, right? So kindly take a look at that once you get a chance. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope everybody is doing great, and thank you so much for joining. I'll be wrapping up today's Q&A, and if I haven't answered anybody's question, unfortunately, please send me an email. I'll try my best to answer that over the email if possible. Stay safe and see you guys.